All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. Welcome to the Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host for this morning's session, Benny Allen, along with my awesome partner, Mr. Rand Carthage. And as always, we're so happy and grateful for each and every one of you being here with us this morning as we take a look at the technicals and the fundamentals to see what we could take advantage of in the Forex market. So without further ado, let's make sure that we turn off any and all distractions, grab a pen and paper, take lots of notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. And as we start each and every morning on these charts, we want to make sure that we take massive action, right? Making sure that we are accepting all possible losses before entering a trade, preparing you for any outcome. We want to make sure that we center ourselves in body, mind, and spirit, assuring a balanced approach to trading. Let's continue to trust in our education, strategy, trading skills, and intuition. Let's imagine our trades successfully materializing and that we are obeying our trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed or fear. And let's never look back or stop once our trade has commenced. If everybody is all ready to go, you can hear me loud and clear. Do me a huge favor, drop me a 1 in the chat so we can get this session started. All right, I appreciate it. I'm glad I'm coming in clear. I've had some major internet slowdowns this morning. I don't know if it's lingering from the storms that we had yesterday, not sure, but it seems like hopefully we're okay. So a little bit of a lag, but I think we may be good now. So let's jump out. Let's close this out of here. Front page when we talk about fundamentals says that the Bank of England projected to keep rates steady and that the Swiss National Bank cuts again. So we actually created an article this morning, right? A new blog post for the Forex Trade Room. So this is about the Swiss National Bank and their decision to cut rates. We were talking about this yesterday. The Swiss National Bank has lowered, right, its policy rate by 25 basis points to 1.25. Inflation in Switzerland rose slightly to 1.4% in May, driven by higher prices for rents, tourism services, and oil products. The S&B's new conditional inflation forecast predicts an average annual inflation of 1.3% for 2024, 1.1% for 2025, and 1% for 2026. Global economic growth was solid in Q1 of 2024, but inflation remained above targets in many countries. Swiss GDP growth is expected to be around 1% in 2024, with moderate growth anticipated in the coming quarters, right? So created a blog article this morning for it. If you don't have time to read, we make it very simple. There's a 5-minute and 37-second recording, right? That's all the time it'll take out of your day to listen and get updated on the latest news as it relates to the Swiss National Bank. Any questions there? So posted that link in the community if you want to take, read it or listen to it while you're driving on your way to work or whatnot. So also European stocks extend gains after the S&B, right? The cut came. We'll see when the rest of the market opens today, New York session, and see how the market reacts. But moving over to the calendar. So the Bank of England today, their monetary policy summary and official rate decision is at 7 a.m. So that'll actually be happening while we're on the session. Again, they are expected to hold rates. We shall see if there's any surprises. But when it comes to the Bank of England, what could also impact it is if we start to get a shift in the number of members, right? Bank of England members who would like to see a rate cut or not, right? So that's one of the things that we always want to look out for anytime we have a rate decision is the decision by the members, the overall ratio in regards to how many want to see a cut and how many advocated for a cut and how many didn't. So we'll see. But overall they're expected to hold rates at 5.25. We'll see what type of impact that has on the pound, especially with the forward guidance that comes. 8:30, we got unemployment claims for the United States. After that, we've got an FOMC member speaking today. We've got crude oil inventories as well. We got consumer confidence numbers coming out of the Eurozone today. So we will see. But the heavy news is going to happen, well, has been happening already this morning. And we've got some more data at 7 o'clock with the Bank of England. Any questions on that? Nope. All right, moving on over, taking a look at the DXY. So the dollar index studied around 105.3 on Thursday as investors in the U.S. Return from the one-day holiday, while markets look ahead to more economic data to better guide the outlook. U.S. housing starts, building permits, and initial jobless claims are set to be released on Thursday, while S&P Global Manufacturing and Services PMI reports are due on Friday. Earlier this week, the dollar came under pressure as weaker than expected U.S. retail sales bolstered bets that the Federal Reserve will have to cut interest rates soon. Markets now see about a 2/3 chance that the Fed will begin easing policy in September, with about 2 rate reductions seen this year. Investors also look forward to the Bank of England's policy decision later today, where it is expected to hold rates steady before delivering its first rate cut in August. So August is just around the corner. We will see. I did also read an article early this morning where some Fed officials were urging patience in regards to rate cuts. So we will continue to see. I don't tend to bet against the Fed. Any questions regarding the dollar index?
No question.
All right, appreciate it, sir. Taking a look at the DXY, right? So slight movement to the upside, still kind of range bound on the dollar. We'll see today if we get any type of movement from the unemployment claims report or even the Bank of England rate decision, especially as it relates to the pound dollar. So we shall see. So continuing to just hover and bounce around, but starting the day out a bit bullish. So let's take a look at some of these Swiss pairs as a result of the data and the rate cut by the SMB. So we'll start out at the top with this Aussie Swiss play. So we can already see that on the daily, right? We now have a swing low forming. So I'm going to assume by the end of the day, barring anything catastrophic, that this is going to be a swing low. So we already have a bullish fib running. And if this holds today, this is going to be a higher low. And then we may continue to push higher. So let's take a look at the Australian dollar. The Australian dollar appreciated past 66 cents, reversing a recent decline as the Reserve Bank of Australia struck a hawkish tone in the post-meeting press conference this week. That's key, warning that upside risk to inflation remain. RBA Governor Michelle Bullock also said that the board discussed whether an interest rate hike was necessary at the June meeting, while they did not consider the case for a rate cut. These comments came after the central bank kept the cash rate unchanged at 4.35% for the fifth straight meeting. As widely expected, markets have since scaled back bets for an RBA rate cut in December from about 64% at the start of the week to now only 25%, with an easing not seen until April of next year. Right? Meanwhile, Reserve Bank of New Zealand's chief economist said that inflation could ease faster than expected over the medium term, prompting a dovish outlook from New Zealand. So we are looking bullish, right, on this. So if we come down to the 4, right, and we zoom in after the correction on the Swissy, I am going to look, right, for pullbacks and continuations. We got a pullback to the 50% fit right at the edge of the buy zone. And against, right, we see now we've got that 58.58 that will hold as support most likely. So I am going to look for pullbacks and continuations on this Aussie Swiss. This is the 4-hour chart. And we know we just got a rate cut. And from the SMB, and we see that we hit a D extension off of this low. Okay, so if I'm looking at this 4-hour down to the 1, I am looking for a new fib to form and a pullback and then a continuation, right? So we've got an ABCD wave that just played out coming off the low. If this holds, this is going to be our new high. Our C becomes our new A. Our D becomes our new B. And we will have a new fib. And so I would love to see a pullback and a continuation. Any questions on the Aussie Swiss?
Nope.
All right. SMB chair Thomas Jordan did say, right, that if they have to intervene, they will, right? So if there's a run made against the Swiss franc, they will step in, right, to protect themselves against that. So we always have to pay close attention to what the SMB is doing. So when it came to the strength as of late, from what I've read, the research that I've done, that recent Swiss franc strength came from, you know, the political uncertainty in the Eurozone, right? So that's why we saw uh, that Swiss franc strengthen, right, acting as a safe haven, right? So we'll continue to monitor that closely. But right now I'm looking bullish on this Aussie Swiss. Any questions on that? All right. Okay. To check one more time. Moving on to, let's take a look at the CAD Swiss, see what type of movement we're getting from there. All right. So on this 4-hour, okay, had this fib, it broke consolidation, had this fib running to the downside, and we have an 80-20, right? So you just plot your charts, let the market do what it's going to do. So we've got a swing right now going on. So we will put in a target of a 382 on this one. Okay. And all right, let's target here. And we've got a TP2 level that I will pull out there like that. And we put our stop somewhere below the low or at the extension. So we're running off an original type of setup, like so. Okay. Now, this is already pushed off of that 127 zone. So we're going to look for, right? We're going to look for continuations, right? Maybe a pullback, see if the market wants to take some of it back and then make the run. So if I go down to my 1 hour or my 15-minute, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to eliminate this one. So, okay. And I'm going to run it off of that 4-hour fib. So I'm looking for another drive to the upside on this. Take these two targets and see if we can work our way to them. So right? So we are way overextended off that low. So we need to wait for a new fib to set up. If we come down to 15, targets down. So, and we could try to catch a wave, right? So if we could get the market to pull back for us in our zone and look to uh, get long like that. So this would be our 4-hour 38.2 TP. Oh, keeps jamming up on me, TP1. Right, like that. Any questions on that CAD Swiss?
No, clear as day.
All right, appreciate it. So that's that. Let me look at the daily. Looking at from this daily here. See where we are, right? So we're definitely oversold for the most part. Still down. And this here, right? So at the end of the day, we'll have a low here like this. So zoom out. And this is the longer term fib, but we're getting a bounce. So I'm just going to play this horizontal support and resistance because I want to trade what I'm seeing right now. And we've had a fundamental occurrence with a rate cut. So I want to see if we can push up and challenge some of these levels, right? That's 65.14, on up to that 65.33, which is a weekly level. Let's see if we can sustain some momentum. All right, that's that. Okay, so moving on, we'll take a look at the Swiss yen. So this one has been on the move, right? So the timing is pretty good for the rate cut. We've run into, on the Swiss yen, a weekly D extension, right? So huge acceleration, strong push, right? Now we know why we got that Swiss franc strength. And so if we zoom out on the daily chart, it's back. there. Okay. You can see we're hitting extensions, right? So we come down to the 4, right? We are pretty exhausted, right? So from our breakout point that we had here, we made a really nice run, right? On the Swiss yen, a beautiful run, okay? Right? Over 675 pips to the upside. We ran through the weekly extension and we are still not at the 4 hours. So we'll see what type of correction we get. Do we come back down to eventually retest 175? Don't know, right? But we know that on our 4 hour, right, we already have pretty much a 61.8 pullback, and we've got a de-extension here at 183.05. So let's see, as we know what's going on with the Bank of Japan, they're not making a move quite yet. So we still want to remain bullish, but we want to see if we get a correction, right? Because we're sitting pretty high on this. 4 hour stochastic is in the sell zone. Let's move on down to our 1. Let's see what we've got going on. Right. See if we can catch the latest fib to the upside, which I thought I had fibs on here. There we go. The BOJ is being stubborn. A lot of back and forth, right? They're they're almost like the total opposite of the S&B. The S&B will step in and do what they want to do, right? And either increase or decrease their foreign currency reserves, and manipulate price, right? The Bank of Japan, they hem and haw, they talk, they jawbone, right? They try to talk the market down or up before they actually take any type of action. It takes them forever. So, but I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100% on that stubbornness. And so we'll just continue to play along, right? After corrections until they actually do something. I wish I would have, you live and you learn, but I wish I would have took a more of a position trading approach with these yens, and just let them just keep running because they're really slow to make decisions, major decisions. So this is the 1 hour on the Swiss yen. So we're just looking for pullbacks and continuations, everybody, on this at this point. Do I have a lower time frame chart? I don't. So let me put in, I'll just go, just keep it consistent with a 15-minute chart. And this has made a long run. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to catch it from this C point and run it on the 15. So we'll catch it off this low at our C. But these 61.8s with structure, right, can be highly profitable. Right? If you're willing to take the shot. That's a 1 hour play, and his high point is over 1,100 pips. Right? Since May. That was May 1st there. So let's see what we've got going on. Chart. Let's find the low, and let's start running some fibs. There we go. So you got a 15-minute 80-20. So we look for pullbacks, right? And then see if we can get a continuation down. So if I run a sub fib to the downside. So, right now it's already made a strong move down. So if you get any type of if you counter trend trade that to the downside, right, which we could see further declines. That's what we want to see happen so we can catch a low price. So if you're looking to counter trend trade that move, right, see if you can get a higher pullback, into the zone, and then get short, right? And then see what happens as we come into a low price. Any questions on the Swiss yen? No.
Nope.
All right. So we like fundamental occurrences, everybody. We like volatility, right? If we stay patient, it leads us to our setups. Okay, leads us to our setups. But we need for those fundamentals, right, to cause some volatility in the market to get the market moving. Moving on to the Euro Swiss. Right, which I got blown up earlier, right, on the higher time frame play that took out the A, right? We broke this level. Man, I thought it was gonna hold there. I guess I was early, right? Not looking far enough ahead regarding major fundamental data coming up this month. So I took it early, lost on that, but we've got past resistance becoming future support. We've got a stochastic that is in the buy zone, right? And we've got a cut that just occurred. So, right, if you look here at our weekly, okay, we're right at a 61.8 on this weekly off of this last impulse move and correction. So we'll see what that's worth. Of course, right, because we got a deep correction on a higher time frame, we've had fibs running right to the downside as a result, right? We broke that level. That's just a zoomed in view. But I think, I don't know, right? Unless, right, that Swissy kicks in, acts as a safe haven, um, unless they come in and decrease their foreign currency reserves, right? This has got the chance to run to make a bullish run, but we'll see. So I'm almost ready for at least in the what I want to do is I want to, because we're finding good support. What I want to look at it from this angle after this cut, right? And then I'll let the market uh prove me wrong on that. But I want to see it break above, right, our zone here, and to see if we can get a continuation, to see if uh, we're gonna get momentum as a result of what just happened. Right. So I want to see if we can break trend line and get above this zone. So I'm going to flip it and run it like this. Looking at that daily where it's finding support, looking at that weekly, I want to see if we get a break and a run to the upside, right? Which plays right into this 1 hour 80-20 play, right? So I want to do this for now. So we've got that identified. That's an 80-20 technically, but I want to, oh, this is what I'll do. Since this is a 1 hour 80-20 that is established, we'll leave it as such. Right? And we will put these targets in. So, okay. And we will keep with our 15-minute chart thing, and we will drop down to this 15-minute. Right? So we can really get a good look at that move. And we will move these targets down. That and And take this zone, pull it down. And we will see if we could get some positive momentum to the upside after the rate decision. Okay. We know that the ECB, they cut rates too. That was their first rate cut. Didn't give any forward guidance as to future rate cuts, right? Remaining data dependent. We'll continue to watch the economic data coming out of the Eurozone. And maybe, right, we can get some sustained momentum against the Swiss franc, at least in the short term. So there's our lowest point. Can we sustain a momentum on the Euro Swiss? We shall see. There. Right. So again, right, see if the market wants to take back some of what it gained, and then continue long. Any questions on that Euro Swiss setup?
No question.
All right. Thank you very much. Get this off. Okay, so we'll continue to monitor that. All right, moving on down to the pound Swiss. Right. So we have been bullish, gave us a major correction because of that Swiss strength that kicked in due to the political uncertainty, right? Safe haven. That's what you always think about with the Swiss, right? Do we have a risk off, risk on, scenario, right? And if we go risk off, we know that it can act as a safe haven and it could cause the Swiss strength to strengthen. But then we also know, right, that if the Swiss National Bank intervenes, right, typically the tool that they use is they'll go in and they'll increase or decrease foreign currency reserves, right, to either strengthen or weaken the Swiss franc. So we always want to watch out for those things. Like I say, sometimes the data is hard to find. You learn well after the fact what they did, but you can kind of sometimes speculate based on the price action what's occurring, right? So this is where we are. So looking at this daily, we're finding support there, right? So we've come all the way back and double back, right? Pretty much like a head and shoulders there, right? Didn't get an equal right shoulder at that 115.03 monthly level, but you see the pattern. So right now, though, right, we're finding support again at a previous level, 112.14, right? It always pays to zoom out, go to your higher time frame, and see. So we've got a cut. Now, this was the original play here. So this one, thank goodness, is giving me an opportunity to get back in, right, after being stop profited, right, after it made this huge run to the upside, and we just came right into that daily resistance at 116.74. Then it collapsed from there, right, on the strength. So, but it came right back to the level where we got in originally at the 61.8. Right? So what we want to see, okay, is what if it can maintain momentum to the upside. Let's go and see what happened here with the Bank of England. Let me see. Bank of England, they held the policy rate. Policy rate during this meeting, as expected, with two members advocating for a decrease to 5%. Recent economic indicators show inflation has returned to the target of 2%, driven by moderating inflation expectations and declining energy prices from the previous year. GDP growth has exceeded expectations, but underlying economic surveys suggest a slower pace. The MPC acknowledged a looser labor market despite tight historical standards and is committed to maintaining a restrictive monetary policy until inflation risk diminish sustainably. They remain vigilant about persistent inflationary pressures and will adjust policy as necessary based on upcoming economic data and forecasts. So they're going to stay data dependent. So they're going to stay data dependent, keep policies restrictive, right? So you had two members. So you can see here that I am going to hold on one second. I am going to look to see if we can get back bullish on this, right? So we're looking for corrections and pullbacks, but I like the fact that we double bottomed, and right at that double bottom level is where we got the push, right? And so we've got some corrective action. So now it's just a matter of everybody, right? Is can we sustain the momentum? If you come down here to the one, tracking that correction, another 80-20 on the 1 hour with those fibs running to the downside, right? So you've got double bottom action on the smaller scale, right at that 127 zone. So we want to look for pullbacks and continuation. So if we go, we'll keep with our 15-minute chart. Okay. We love it, right? When we get the fundamentals to kick in. Let me clear these out. Since I'm coming from a 5 to a 15, we'll restart everything. And so now it becomes the same thing, right? We are going to look for continuations long, right? If these go our way, right, we are literally stealing pips, right? Because we understand the impact of fundamentals. So let's see how things shake out, right? Can we create that higher low that we need? Can we create that higher low? Now we've got a larger play plan out on the 4, right? So we know where this could head, but if you're looking for short-term targets, we'll use these 1 hour 80-20 targets, right? I want to see that thing swing 400 some pips back to the upside to finish out that D extension on the 4. But in the short term, right, if you're not looking at holding trades that long, then let's pay attention to these 80-20 levels off the 1. So, okay. See if we can get these pullbacks and continuations. So I want to make sure I got this fib right, and this what I'm looking at is the low. Yes, it is. Okay. So again, can we get a deeper pullback? And then a continuation, right? So it should be kind of similar, right? Even if you're trading off the 30 or whatnot, or any whatever lower time frame than 5, we're looking for a pullback and a continuation of the move. And hopefully we can get that. Just be patient, right? See if it settles down and gives you that higher low, right? And then we look to move beyond that. Any questions on the pound Swiss? No.
Nope. No
All
question.
right. All right. So you all can see how, you know, um, once you get consistent at framing the market out the same way, right, it becomes easier to see the patterns, right? And to be able to trade in baskets if you want to, right? So let's move on and take a look at the NZD Swissy. So
Sorry
you
about this.
got,
Just a quick one.
yes, sir.
Yeah. So when you say trading in basket, does that mean like all the Swiss pairs?
Correct. Yep,
Right.
correct. So, like one of the things that my mentor used to do is he used to just rack up pips, man, because he would trade, he would wait, for these occurrences, and then he would just trade the Swiss basket, right? So, if the Swissy is weak, right? If the Swissy is weak and it's the base currency, right, then that should be selling off. If it's the counter currency, the base currency against it should be buying, right? Get long. So, like for example, if I come down, because I was working on my dollar basket. Um, Let me see. Was this my? I actually had. I was working on a couple things. Um, so yeah, right. So you can go into your charts and you can get these. This was I thought I had started a new one though. Hold on. You can put in your charts, right? Like this is a dollar basket here. Okay, so you can see, right, dollars, the counter, the counter, the counter, the counter, right? Here's the base, it's the base, it's the base, right? So you can set your charts up and say with this Aussie dollar, I can work it from the monthly all the way down to the 1 hour or 4 hour, whatever chart you like to trade on in one chart, right? And then I can go to you know, my next one, and I can work that from the top down in one chart. See? Right? And but I thought I had let me see. I thought I had started working. Let me see. Yeah. So for example, this was it was another dollar basket workspace I was working on, but I'll just go back to the old one. You can see how you could just monitor it from one workspace, all your dollar crosses, and you can trade it as a basket. Right? Yeah. So that's what we mean by that, right? So if you've got dollar strength, like major dollar strengths, for example, you look at the DXY, the dollar is pumping to the upside, then you should see this Aussie dollar, Euro dollar, pound dollar, NZD dollar, right? Or most likely be moving down while these dollar-led pairs will be moving up. And vice versa. I'm not sure this is from a while ago. Did I do, let me see something here. Just starting to work on that one. But yeah, you could set, and what I'll do is I'll take the time and I'll go through and um I'll set up these currencies in baskets that way and we can look at them. But you could do that. So you could do it all within the same workspace. And so when you get a major fundamental occurrence that plays out and it creates that shift, you could just ride the wave, right? You could just ride the wave. So if we come here and we take a look at this NZD Swissy, right, that's in a pretty good zone, right? That's in a pretty good zone. Now we got another rate cut. Um, and so if we take a look at the latest, when we take a look at this NZD Swissy, the New Zealand dollar steady, 61 cents rising early in the session following release of the country's first quarter GDP. The data show that New Zealand exited recession. They exited recession with the economy expanding 0.2% in the first quarter compared to the previous quarter and by 0.3% year on year, exceeding expectations of 0.1% and 0.2% growth, respectively. Despite the return to growth, the economy is expected to continue struggling, right? It's a little mixed there in the coming quarters. On Wednesday, the RBNZ chief economist Paul Conway said that good progress is being made in bringing inflation back to target, but he emphasized the need for a period of restrictive policy to give confidence, it would meet the goal. Most economists are tipping the first rate cut at the end of the year or early 2025, although investors have fully priced in a quarter-point rate cut in November. So it's already priced in. This may look to continue bullish, right? So we want to continue to, with all the things going on globally, we can't say it enough, watch the risk on, risk off sentiment. The New Zealand dollar is the commodity currency, right? So, but right now, right, this could be a good move to the upside. That's the daily. We know that's with strength. Look at how everything happens, right? We got switch strength. We came to the edge of this buy zone here, right? After that 80-20 correction, it seems like we're sticking at that daily support level at 53.99. So what we want to see with all of these switch crosses, right, is can we get a continuation long, right? So we got the deep retracement. Let me go back. So yep, I pulled this fib down. So this is continuing to get long here. So what I'll do is I will run these fibs because we've probably got a reset after that deep correction. Yes. So what we want to see is, can we now, right, continue to get long? Right. So this was the low. We consolidated. Here's our low. So we'll just run into the outside of where that consolidation broke out. And we'll run our fib from that low, like so. So all of these are kind of in that same position, right? Can we get corrections and continuations from this point, right? If we come in, we put a cloud on, are we above the cloud? Yes, right? So we're not above the 200 yet, but we may be headed that way. Second rate cut. We know what happened when the Swiss National Bank came out the gate and they cut rates early. They surprised everybody. We know that strengthened. That weakened the Swiss franc for quite some time up until we saw that recent strength as a result of the political uncertainty in the Eurozone, right? So let's see if we can continue long on that. Any questions on the NZD Swissy? All right. So let's move on down and check out the dollar Swiss, which we posted. Now the dollar's bouncing around, right? But we know they're holding rates. We'll see what happens with the unemployment data, but we want to see a continued push along, right? At least that's what I want to see. So you can see how we've just continued to break through and pull back, right? 80-20 is right. You see how they show up all over the chart on any time frame, right? So we got to push up to this high price, and then we came right back down, even on the daily chart, right? We're not quite right oversold yet. We'll see. That dollar could be tricky, right? But I think over the long term, I would like to stay long on this. So hopefully a 4-hour idea, right? After we got the monster 80-20 on this from before, I want to see this get long, right? And just continue, right? We ride the wave until it fails. We ride it until it fails, okay? See, yes, are you going to lose some? Absolutely, right? But if you trade C to Ds and things like that, even in your 80-20s, typically, depending on where you put your stop, if you're more aggressive with your stop, it could be, 3-to-1, 4-to-1. But typically with your 80/20s, if you put your stop at the extension, you're going to get about a 2-to-1. But when you see the D's and these deep corrections, right? You put yourself high 2, 3-to-1 a lot of times, right? And so, more than that, if you put your stop below the C and you run a tighter stop loss. But we know when we put our stop loss within this AB boundary, we run a greater risk of being stopped out, right? We know that. But if you're willing to live with that, that's okay too. I know plenty of traders that are 35, 40% strike rate traders, and they make a lot of money, right? Because they use tighter stops. But if you use the wide stop, put your stop outside the A, because if it doesn't take out the A, it has no choice but to go your way, right? You can put yourself into a position of where you don't have to trade a colossal risk percentage, right? You could trade small and just accumulate pips, right? So this is where we are on the dollar Swiss. We want to see if this can reverse out and continue to make higher highs and higher lows, right? That's what we want to see. We can see here because of what happened today that you've got similar price action across the board. This is a 5-minute chart, right? So this is our 5. We'll run it. We'll find the low. Just right here. And you can see, right, that we're in that 80/20 zone, and we just want to pull back and continue, right? If we clear that out and move to the 15, you can see where the market is literally doing the same thing over and over and over again, right? So the 5, we know we got a price in the 80/20 zone. Can we get a correction to a sweet spot and get long on this 15? Don't know. We shall see. So we got a rate cut from the S&B, the second one this year, 25 basis points, taking it down to 1.25, right? And so we see the market is reacting. So we want to see if we can get, a continued move to the upside on these. But of course, we want it at a discounted price, right? So we have to be patient if we're not already involved in these pairs. Any questions over anything that we covered today? No? All right. So we will, right? I'll continue to do a data dive on the Bank of England results, and we'll get something out for everybody today in the form of a blog post, right? Again, if you don't have time to read, you can listen, right? So again, right, make sure I put it in the community. I'll put it here in the chat if you want to learn more about the S&B and the recent rate cut. Ryan, good morning, sir. I know you're super busy. Anything you want to add to the group before we close out?
Good morning, bro. Good morning, everybody. No, not at the moment, man. Great session. I appreciate your detail. And I appreciate you getting those articles posted as well, man. Super informative. And easy to listen to
Indeed.
if you're on the go, right? If you don't have time to read them, click the play button. You can listen to them. Genius, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, sir. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your day. We will be back here tomorrow, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the pre-New York session. Don't just count your pips, but make sure that you count your blessings. Have a great one, everybody.